Hey guys, Matt Baldoni here for Superior Vocal Health. Brand new product I was just recently introduced to, and I cannot tell you how happy I am with not only the products themselves, but the relationship I now have with the people who make this product. So, a little bit about how I ran across this. I have a really esteemed colleague and friend in Nashville by the name of David DiMuzio. I became friends with him because I was a fan of his. I was using a lot of his vocal lessons and his methods of practicing and warming up to help my singing, and I wanted to thank him for it, so I reached out to him. He was quite receptive, and he was very friendly and very cool. We became friends, and not long after that, he introduced me to this stuff. And David's been an endorser of these guys for quite some time, and he suggested I do the same, and just like everything else, Dave was right. So he put me in touch with another gentleman who I could now consider a friend by the name of David John Katz in Long Island, New York, who is the developer of these incredible products. So before I explain to you how I use them and what they do and how they work, I should tell you, I want to go over just a couple other things. As many of you know, I'm an entertainer on the Las Vegas Strip and on tour, and I have a particularly busy schedule, and I have a particularly vocally demanding gig with the Australian Bee Gees show. And after I'd been doing that gig for a while, it started getting around to other people that I had some singing chops kind of up in the nosebleed seats, so they started calling me to do some of it, and now it's kind of just part of what I do in the last several years. So now that that's happened, I've had to take everything about my health a lot more seriously. So whenever any of us decide to make any health changes, like say we decide to start working out, or we decide to pick up a sport, or we decide to do some kind of athletic training, there's always this kind of craze with supplements, like, ooh, take this and it'll make you lose weight, or, oh, if you take this protein powder, it gets you jacked, and, you know, most of this stuff is kind of BS, you know? Well, my vocal life is kind of like running a marathon. As you can tell by my speaking voice, singing that high doesn't really come very naturally to me, so it requires a lot of care and maintenance. However, most of these supplements I have tried are BS, and they don't work, except for this one. So before I tell you about it, let's talk about what supplements are not a substitute for. Okay? As a singer, when you're putting your voice and your vocal folds, your vocal cords, your larynx through this athletic training, these marathon type runs, supplements are no substitute for, most importantly, sleep and rest. You have to go to bed, man. You have to go to bed. The busier you are, the more you have to sleep, and the more you have to not talk or sing when you're not working. So supplements can't really get you around being overly tired, okay, including this one. 2, supplements are no substitute for good technique. Things like cutting back the air, not getting overly tense in your neck and your shoulders, and you know, singing properly from the diaphragm, and all this stuff you can go over with a good vocal coach. Supplements are not a substitute for a good voice coach either, okay? We all need training, and it's important to take lessons and to get them from somebody more experienced than we are, okay? Supplements are no substitute for water. You need at least a gallon or a gallon and a half a day if you're doing any kind of athletic training, especially singing like this, okay? And supplements are also not a substitute for getting occasional checkups and examinations by a good ear, nose, and throat doctor. I think at least once a year, maybe twice a year, it's important to get your throat scoped and to try and maybe you know, see if there's any major problems or any inflammation, especially during busy seasons like corporate season or the holidays, you know, which are busy times in Vegas. So anyway, all that being said, once you have a proper warm-up routine, once you've had some coaching, once you've had maybe some professional experience, maybe not, but once you have a good handle on your voice and realize that everyone's voice is a little bit differently, and you're starting to realize what works for you in terms of these other aspects, then it might be time to try a product like this. And when it comes time to look at any supplements, I really believe you need to look no further. So SuperiorVocalHealth.com is where you will find this stuff. And they have several products, so I'm going to just talk to you about how I use them. The first one, it's kind of the easiest one to explain, is this one here, which is called the Throat Saver. Okay? Now this is just kind of a few times daily spray. You can just, spray a couple of sprays in your mouth before you sing, maybe after you sing, maybe first thing in the morning, maybe last thing before you go to bed. Just kind of as you're feeling it. It's got a pretty hefty amount of peppermint in it, which is very refreshing and kind of revitalizing and helps kind of wake up your throat if you're tired. I should also mention that Mr. Katz worked with a bunch of renowned herbologists and put nothing but all natural and organic ingredients in here. There's no harsh chemicals. Basically everything that's in here kind of comes out of the ground. It's natural minerals and herbal extracts and stuff like that, which I found was a big selling point for me personally. If I'm going to use this as essentially a dietary supplement, that's what they are, because you can't get everything from your food. So that's a Throat Saver. The next thing that I like to do is this thing right here, which my friend Dave DiMuzio introduced me to first, and he was right about this. This is the Sinus Cleanse. Now, I used to kind of maintain my throat by carrying around one of those little neti pots on the road, one of those little plastic teapot looking things where I'd pour it into my nostril in a hotel room or at home before a gig or at the gig at the Vegas casino or whatever. And I would kind of flush out my sinuses that way, which really helped maintain my voice nicely. But it was kind of a pain to carry that stuff around and to find time to do it. This is a much better alternative. I do this in the morning and at night and before the gig. It's like, some of those other like allergy or cold products or whatever. You just get it up your nose, a couple of pumps, one on each side, and let the drip and the cleanse kind of go through your sinuses and down into your throat, and it works really, really well. I would say this product has saved me more than anything. Okay, so that's the Sinus Cleanse. The third product of theirs that I use is this stuff, which is called the Vocal Rescue. Okay, now this is kind of in an extract form. It comes in with a dropper, and here's the idea with this. Get some good filtered water that's relatively warm, like lukewarm. You still want it to be drinkable or whatever, but some filtered water from the tap or some bottled water that maybe you can nuke in the microwave for 10 or 15 seconds, and then put about a dropper and a half of this stuff into it and stir it up real good. And then what I do is I look at my watch and I kind of gargle it in 2 or 3 gulps for about 15 seconds apiece. Okay, that's how I do it. I've experimented with this stuff for weeks now, and that's what seems to be the best method for me when it comes to their Vocal Rescue. Also, I think a really big key with this stuff is to do this right before you go to bed, when you're not going to be singing or talking anymore and you're going straight to sleep, so that the herbs in here, like this really good stuff like the turmeric and ginger, licorice root, echinacea, marshmallow root, so this stuff, which is all designed to help you recover in a very specific formula, so that this stuff, you do it right before bed so that this stuff can spend all night kind of soothing your throat and helping you recover. And that's how I use these 3 things. I use all 3 of them every day. I only omit them if I have a day or 2 off. If I have a day or 2 off, I can kind of cycle off of them no differently than say maybe once a year for a few days I'll cycle off my zinc supplement or something like that, or cycle off of creatine or something like that. You shouldn't use this stuff every day for years on end without cycling off now and again. So I take a day off and I don't use it. But they do make a fourth product that is called Stage Fright. I have not used this stuff yet. I understand that it works really, really well, but I have not used this stuff yet. I don't seem to need it. I don't really get nervous on stage anymore. I didn't, well, it's kind of my favorite place to be. So I don't really get nervous anymore. I don't feel the need for it. I think we all can agree that among entertainers and musicians, the alcohol and drug use is a little bit on the rampant side, and you know, for good reason. This is kind of a nerve-wracking business. So this is a great alternative to destroying yourself in that way, okay? Their Stage Fright product is designed specifically to calm your nerves. It's got some beta blockers and some other stuff in it. However, once again, I don't use it. Okay, so I am going to link to superiorvocalhealth.com in the description below, and they have now given me the opportunity to be an endorsing artist of their product, which I'm very grateful for. So thank you to David Katz and the rest of the company for giving me that opportunity. I really appreciate it. Also, I have to thank David DiMuzio once again for his friendship and guidance through all of this. And so when you go and you purchase this stuff, if you enter the promo code BALDONI, BALDONI, at checkout, 10% off. Okay? Just tell them I sent you, right? This stuff really is the best in the business, and I consider it a real lifesaver. Once again, there are lozenges, and there are sprays, and there are teas, and there are this and that and whatever. Somebody's always trying to sell us something. You know, if they know we're busy and they know we have some reach, they're always going to try to sell us some shit. And not only was I pleased that the company didn't approach me in that way, I'm also blown away by this product more than any other vocal health product that I've ever tried. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and please enjoy your products from superiorvocalhealth.com. Peace.